Hello and welcome to Twyford Avenue. The scene is set and it is Tyrrells Premier 15's semi-final time. Today, the visitors are Harlequins and the hosts are Wasps. Twyford Avenue has become somewhat of a fortress for Wasps. They've had just one defeat here all season, but who did it come at the hands of? Harlequins, of course. The Quins completed the double over Wasps, but now there's some jeopardy on the line, a place in the final, and the winner today will, of course, take their advantage into the second leg in a week's time at Harlequins. There's a real buzz about the place. There's plenty of confidence in both of the sides, and before this match, we caught up with both coaches. Well, Giselle, you came bounding over with a huge smile on your face. Is that nerves or confidence?
No, it's just excitement. It's fantastic for us to be involved in the inaugural playoffs of the Tyrrells Premier 15s. I'm really, really excited for our team to be part of it. These girls have worked so hard for this opportunity, and so days at last it's here and the sun's shining, and yeah, we can't wait for it to start.
Of course, it's knockout rugby now. You welcome Harlequins back. It's been a bit of a fortress at home, though. That must bode well for today.
We love playing here. Obviously, it's where we do our work. It's where we train really, really hard, and we absolutely love playing here. A real vibe for it. Something comes up through the ground through our boots. So that's exciting for us. And you know, as I say, they've earned the opportunity, and they just can't wait to give it a go and to throw the dice at this and see what happens.
You're fielding a pretty consistent side as well. You've had 4 wins back-to-back coming into this game. You're not conceding a lot of points earlier. Do you think you're in the best shape possible to try and book your place in the final?
Yeah, we know what we want to try to do. Clearly, you know, we've got to combat our opposition, and they will be trying to stop us. That's the nature of the beast. But yeah, we're very clear about where we're at and what we want to do, and we've got to go and find out whether it works. The interesting thing is the double header. That's a very new experience for all of our athletes. They've not been involved in that before. 160 minutes of rugby, which is entertaining. So yeah, we're looking forward to see how that goes.
And speaking of your opposition, you've had 2 real battles with them this season. They're the only team to defeat you here. Sorry to bring that up before we kick off. But the way you've built this season, are you confident that you've learned enough, you've improved enough, that over 160 minutes you can book your place in the final?
Sport is about challenges, and this is the only team we haven't beaten in the whole season. So that's a really exciting opportunity for us to put that right in our book. The standard of the women's game has improved so dramatically. We played them in the first game of the season when we lost here, and it was by 6 points that we lost. But it was a fabulous game of rugby. Both teams in the 30s. So that's what I'm hoping will be the case here. That it's a fabulous game of rugby, but I'd like to see the 6 points go the other way.
Lots to play for, and we can't wait for this one. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, Gary Street, it's the business end of the season. Yep. It's knockout rugby. How are you all feeling?
Yeah, really excited. I think it's going to be it's a great day for it. Conditions look good, and 2 good sides coming into form. So it's going to be a hell of a game.
And you've had 2 tight wins towards the back end of the season. Is that ideal playoff preparation?
Yeah, I think so. I think the last game against Tyrrells was real tough, a good workout, and yeah, full of confidence, and pretty much the same side. So yeah, it's going to be ding dong.
Well, going on to that same side, that unchanged side, is that the kind of consistency that you need to get yourselves all the way in this competition?
We've got some strength in depth. We've got some good youngsters, but I think towards the end, you know, you want your most experienced players who've been here, done this sort of stuff before, and Wasps have got some great experienced players as well. So I think it'll be two teams really going at it today.
Well, they've turned this place into a little bit of a fortress. They've had 1 defeat here this season, and it's come at the hands of your team. You also beat them back at your place. Do you think those 2 wins are going to give you the confidence and you've got the quality you need to book your place in this final over 160 minutes?
I think if you get to the playoffs, everybody's good enough to get there. It's how anybody plays today. We're hoping that we hit the ground running. We know what a good side Wasps are, and hoping we can come out on top.
Well, great conditions, 2 great sides. We're hoping for a great match. Good luck.
Sure will be. Thanks a lot.
With a lot of positivity going into this one, it's the Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg live from Twyford Avenue. Let's have a look at the teams taking the field of play today, looking to get advantage in the first leg. Starting with the hosts, Wasps FC ladies, Hannah West, Amy Cockayne and Justine Lucas in the front row. Alice Sheffield and Nora Balcher-Wright at 4 and 5. Emily Macy, Liz Clark and Nick Smith making up the back row. Sammy Wong and Louise Dodder at half-backs. Tova Dirk on the left wing. Kate Alder captains the side from 12. Outside her, Vicky Jackson at 13. Abby Dow on the right wing, should I say. And at full-back, it's Danielle Waterman. Their opponents, of course, Harlequins, won here on the opening day of the season. And they line up with Vicky Cornborough, Davinia Catlin and Altora Itsunu at 1, 2 and 3. Zoe Sainer at 4 and Abby Scott at 5. Shauna Brown, the league's top scorer, at 6. Deborah McCormack at 7 and Fiona Fletcher at number 8. Leanne Riley starts at scrum half and Ellie Green outside her at 10. Natasha Bradshaw on the left wing. Rachel Burford captains the side at inside centre. Fiona Pocock at 13. At 14, it's Holly Myers and Jessica Wooden is at fullback. Plenty of strength in depth with both of these sides. On the bench for Wasps, we have Kani Afilaka, Katie Hallett, Amy Wigley, Megan Horwood, Anna Glynn Davis, Amy Atkinson and Alex Clay. For Quins ladies, it's Chloe Edwards, Tova Vixton, Samantha McCarthy, Alex Hardy, Bobby Hayward, Ellie Miles and Stacey White make up 16 to 22 for the visitors. We'll kick off just under 5 minutes away. Joining me for this one is Kat Merchant. Very well welcome, Kat. Great to have you. This is an exciting day in the Tyrrells Premier 15s.
Yeah, you can tell from the atmosphere here, everybody is buzzing, both teams, the coaches. You can see there's just that air of excitement, both teams itching and they are ready to go.
Well, Harlequins, dominant for so long this season. They started with 8 victories before that run came to an end to Saracens. Wasps have built as the season's gone on. We heard pre-match there that Quins, of course, the only team that they haven't defeated. That'll set us up for a fantastic first leg today.
I think Giselle put it brilliantly. She said it's an she sees it as an opportunity. They're the only team they haven't beat yet, so she wants to have a go at them. From a Quins point of view, I think they'll be quite confident today. Very strong pack. I think we'll be seeing them some big ball carriers and a really exciting combo of Rachel Burford and Fiona Pocock in the centres. I think we can see this ball getting really wide with those two there.
Well, both of these teams have fielded relatively consistent lineups, pretty much unchanged from the previous matches. Quins really started to blow some teams away at the beginning of the season, but recently it's a little bit tighter. 14-12 against Richmond, 32-29 there against Saracens towards the back end, building into these playoffs. Do you think those sort of tight fixtures really stand you in good stead moving into knockout rugby?
Definitely. I think if you're, if you're beating teams 50-0 and then suddenly you come to a semi-final and then it's a tight game, you almost don't know how to win those tight games, whereas they've shown they can, and it does put them definitely in a better position and confident to take it on.
As for Wasps, this has really become a little bit of a fortress here. They lost that opening game against Harlequins. It's the only game they've lost all season. Of course, in a two-legged tie, it's going to be a different thing for a lot of these girls. But to have the first leg at home, I think Quins will be happy to travel and Wasps will be happy to host.
Yeah, I think Wasps, you can tell they're a real, they're a great club. They get everybody behind them and the support. And I think for me, for Wasps, I think the back three are the exciting ones. So you've got obviously Waterman, Dow and Dirk. And for me, Tova Dirk, not many people know much about her, but she is absolutely rapid. And not only that, she's a really small woman, but she absolutely smashes people. So hopefully she can prove what she can do today, so we can have exciting back three.
Well, I'd have expected you to say you'd be looking forward to the back threes, but there's plenty of excitement in the pack as well. What we have been blessed with today are conditions. At the moment, at least, it's dry as the teams come onto the field of play. Harlequins making their way out first. They'll be followed, of course, by the hosts, Wasps. But for big matches like this, these are the conditions you want. Very little wind, it's dry, the pitch seems fast. It's all set up for the best team to take the win.
Yeah, it means the ball players and the handlers, they can obviously just move that ball. We can get the offloading. We can get a fast-paced game. When it's raining, it's muddy, it's kind of awful conditions. The standard of rugby can drop and, people don't do as risky plays. They'll just go safe. And certainly from my point of view, I prefer an open, expansive game of rugby to watch. Hopefully we'll see that today.
Well, Wasps make their way past Quins, who are out there and ready to go. Wasps finished third in the league after 18 games, 13 victories, 5 defeats. Only 254 points conceded, though. That's the second best defence in the league, behind Saracens, who conceded 193. Quins, by contrast, the top scorers, 674 points they accumulated. The officials today, Alex Manley in charge. ably assisted by Will Foster and Steve Hambley. Fiona Stockley is the fourth official. And you mentioned the word club there with regards to Giselle and what she's built and what they've built. You really do get that vibe about Wasps, don't you? They've built something pretty special here at Twyford Avenue, but they're going to have to get themselves off to a good start in this two-legged semi-final today. It's Tyrrells Premier 15's semi-final first leg. Harlequins to get us underway, attacking the try line away to your left. Wasps receiving in those black and yellow famous jerseys. We are underway. These important matches, so essential that they get a good start both sides, but Wasps have conceded the penalty early on.
And they'll be disappointed with that, because that was a great carry by Justine Lucas early on. So great take off the kickoff, good strong carry, and they've just got to get the support in there much quicker. Quins are really good at jackling and stealing that ball, so they've got to put more numbers in, and not only that, be effective when they're there and look to blast past that ball to protect it.
Well, they've got some defending to do here. Quins find a good touch. We're going to take a first look at the set piece. Davinia Catlin confers with McCormack. And that's good line-out ball. A little bit scrappy at the drive, and Wasps have counted well to begin with. Very often patience the case, but has that gone forward there? Yes, says the referee.
And Wasps have kept their cool there. They've defended that really well, because you'd be expecting Quins there, driven line out, possibly to want to go over and get the points. So great pressure, forced the knock on, and now obviously they get the ball back.
Well, let's call it a nervy opening 90 seconds then. Wasps conceding the penalty, but then Quins on their first visit to their opponent's 22, knocking the ball on. Inside the first 2 minutes, we'll have a first look at the line-out and the scrum.
So yeah, ref not happy with that. Possibly, I always get the mick taken out of me when I talk about scrums. But I think front row possibly starting to get a bit jittery. They just want to get this first scrum done. Bit too keen, a bit early, so ref calling them in.
And it's an area really where you want to exert your dominance right at the start of the match, particularly for Wasps defending their own 22. You can see all the commotion in the background. There's a Rugby to get the push on, and that's a suggestion of a high tackle, but the referee says no. Nick Smith going on her own, trying to relieve some pressure. There's an advantage coming here for Wasps as well. Oh, and that's been dropped.
I think it was for the high tackle, actually. It was deemed, maybe the touch judge brought that in and fed it into his ear. So, yeah, good spot by the touch judge, got the high tackle, and then pressure now relieved a little bit for Wasps.
Well, I'll have the throw in at the line out this time.
I think you'd have probably been hoping for a little bit more distance there, because obviously still this is kind of more of a danger area. They've still got pressure on them, trying to play out.
Wasps nil, Quins nil. 3 minutes gone of this Tyrrells Premier 15's semi-final first leg. All of the action so far has been in the Wasps half, as that's well taken by Elizabeth Crack. Useful forward work here though, working their way out of the 22 as bodies join. That's hit the deck, but backwards, says the referee. Once again, the forwards go, handy meters, committing plenty of numbers to the breakdown, both sides, but look at that from Harlequins, driving Wasps back towards their own 22. Look for a second like that might be turned over. Wasps really grafting here. Vicky Jackson making the hard yards. Again, that jackal comes in from Quins, unsuccessful this time, but really committing to every breakdown, trying to get hands on that ball. Wasps are going to have to be careful that they don't isolate themselves in the contact zone. Sammy Wong switches inside. It's a little bit static there from Wasps, but they've got the advantage coming again.
Again, looks like he's getting communication in, possibly from one of the touch judges feeding something in there. And Wasps doing well to keep the ball. We saw Vicky Jackson fought so... She's got wire strength. She looks very, skinny, but she's so strong and she fights in the contact. As you mentioned before, Wasps are at risk of getting isolated. There was a definite jackal attempt. I think it might have been Cornborough over the ball. And then, luckily, it was unsuccessful. But really, Wasps have to be quicker in there. They've got to make sure they blast it out of the way. So you're painting a good picture in the referee's mind.
Well, they find touch again. Still inside their own half. They didn't make particularly good ground there, but I think they'll be pleased with the composure that they showed deep inside their own half to earn the penalty.
Well, Dodds isn't actually a 10 at all, so for me, she's a crash ball centre. So to put her at 10 is obviously quite a test for her, and fair play for her to step up and to do that. But it just might mean that the kicking skills and things like that possibly not as you'd expect of a 10.
Well, that line-out's been turned over as well. There was all kinds of confusion in the Wasps forward pack, and Quins took full advantage. Going back to Dodds being a crash ball centre. I think her baser instincts have tucked in a couple of times where she's just wanted to put her head down and make those yards herself, but now it's Quinn's turn to come forward. McCormack with the carry. Oh, the hands on that from Wasps. It's been knocked on as well.
Yeah, a nervous start from Quins, I think, because the pressure hasn't been on them at all. They've not been in their own half. So, but they're just forcing these kind of knock-ons and those plays. They almost need to slow it down rather than trying to play quick on every phase and then having these errors.
Well, in both of the matches they've played so far this season, Wasps have actually taken the lead through a penalty. And that seems to have been the thing that lit the Quins touch paper as they've led at half-time in both matches and, of course, gone on to win them. Let's have another look at this set piece. Steady a scrum from Wasps this time as Brown got up early out of that one. He could have gone forward off Dow then, but the referee happy to let that one continue. His assistant was in a good position too. Another penalty conceded by Quins.
Not releasing the player on the floor, so in their haste to try and get the ball, they've got to show a clear release to the referee before they have rights to go for it. And you mentioned Wasps there, the forwards pack. They are missing quite a lot of experience in there. I mean, they do have Justine Lucas and Amy Cocaine, fantastic experience, but some of the back row in particular, possibly slightly inexperienced. And at line-out time, that's when you miss the voice of someone like Rocky Clark to kind of boss it and say, right, we are running this here, like that, and actually they're then all focused, whereas at the minute, possibly looking slightly lost, possibly a bit of a harsh word, but hopefully they can focus a little more.
Well, they won the first line out when they were defending their own 22, lost the second on the halfway line. Oh, and there's a hand on that again from Quins. Really disrupting Wasps at the set piece, but that's a loose pass. Out comes Vicky Jackson, rushing out of the line to make the tackle, an important tackle as well. How often do we see a bouncing ball cause absolute carnage as that's chipped up over the halfway line? Abby Dow puts boot to ball. Gets it in between the fullback and the winger. This is the first time Harlequins have been inside their own half. It's a good kick that's been allowed to bounce, so forcing Wasps back into their own half. Oh, lovely demi by Vicky Jackson, though. And the netball style offload, has that gone forward off a Quinn's hand? Yes, it has. So Wasps now a great attacking position and an advantage to come. Crack. She's got through another tackle. She's going to go under the sticks. What a finish that is from Elizabeth Crack.
Great finish there. All started from the kicking game, and then Vicky Jackson backing herself, throwing an outrageous dummy, managing to get past. As you said, the netball skills, popping it back inside. But Elizabeth Crack there was no way anyone was stopping her. A fantastic bend, really powerful. And then the pace just to burst through. So hopefully see it here defend. Yeah, no one's catching her from here. She's got that try line in sight. Great finish.
I think Jess Wood might be a little bit disappointed to miss that tackle.
Yeah, definitely. I think if a back misses a tackle on a forward like that, you're always pretty gutted.
But what about that dummy from Vicky Jackson? Up the right-hand side, lovely shimmy.
But this is the danger that Wasps have. We said it before, they've got a fantastic back three. So if Quins are going to play a kicking game, they're going to have to get their defence chasing up and in their face, because you do not want to give these girls time. Vicky Jackson had also dropped into that, so almost a back four. So they're covering these kicks well, and great to see. Brilliant start for Wasps.
Abby Dow to turn 5 into 7. Which is exactly what she does. And having had to have defended their 22 in the opening minutes, Wasps open the scoring. It's 7-0 here in the Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg.
And it's not often you see a winger taking your conversion kick, so a big shout to that Abby Dow there. Great work for wingers to see.
I think on the balance of play, that's probably about the right scoreline as well. Wasps have spent a lot of time inside their own half, but they certainly look the more composed of the two outfits at the moment as well. And Hannah West getting straight back in on the action there in that blue scrum cap. There's that crash ball again, but straight back into the contact zone. Good quick ball though. A clever kick as well, sending Wasps back into their own half. Oh, beautiful offload though. Deftest of hands from the forwards. Oh, fantastic stuff as Fee Fletcher goes trundling into the 22. Well, it was going behind that's lit the touch paper twice against Wasps. It looks to have done exactly the same here. Itsunu. The referee said play on there. Not entirely sure what happened. It's scrappy. But Quinn's in an excellent position. 6 metres short of the line. Powerful ball carrying. Plenty of width to work with here for Quins as well. They pick, they go, and they're over.
And what a different style of try that was. First of all, amazing offloads. They really punched their arms through and they were able to get the offloads away, the pace of it. But then once they're 5 metres out, they get their big call, their big runners in, and Abby Scott gets nice and low and drives over the line.
Well, huge power there. But Wasps at ones and twos a little bit defensively. There was a big gap for her to go through.
Yeah, they left the breakdown where, especially that far out, you've got to have people in tight. It's unlikely that they're going to launch the ball wide. Got to tighten it all up to go in there. They did really well initially to defend Shauna Brown because she's a big carrier. You said top try scorer, but so to stop her 5 metres out is a good one. But then I think they lost focus and then spread too much.
Well, Abby Scott scored late in the win earlier in the season.
She's a powerful runner. She's someone that can play back row as well as second row quite easily, just because of her pace and power.
Missed the kick to level things. Scoops that one to the left of the sticks, so Wasps' lead is cut, but it is still a lead. Wasps 7, Harlequins 5.
And what a great reaction from Quins. That's one thing you've got to do. Wasps started to get their confidence up. You can see them. They're standing up taller. They're starting to think they're going to dominate. And then Quins coming back and scoring that early, then really is going to make them question themselves.
Well, Nora Baltrawhite is going to get us back underway here. Thought it was odd having a winger taking conversions. How about a second rower taking restarts?
Bit of a toe punt.
It gets us back underway. Now Quinn's just cutting loose now. Lovely handling from them. Good support lines as well. Good defending there from Wasps though. Hannah West with the tackle, driving Quinn's back. And now we see the width on it. Some missed tackles here from Wasps. They can't afford to allow Quins to get on the front foot like this. Straight back into the Wasps half, and now they go wide to the left-hand side. Bradshaw tackled on the 22. Approaching 15 minutes of this Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg. McCormack snagged bang in the middle of the park on the 22. Great handling from all over, back into the 22. Still 1, 2, 3 defenders it takes to bring the ball carrier down. Oh, Quins look a different side in these last 2 minutes. The Wasps don't look entirely sure how to deal with it. It's Brown again. Abby Scott loitering with intent once more. Just a metre short now for Quins. Wasps in a little bit of trouble. The referee's got himself in a good position, of course. If the ball touches the post, then it's a troll. What a tackle that is. Kate Alder, the captain, try-saving tackle, but they've conceded the penalty. Quins have gone quickly, flat pass, and the second score in quick succession. Well, Quins look absolutely unplayable now.
They're a completely different outfit there. I think the important things in both of that was Fee Pocock made 2 breaks. It was 2 fantastic line breaks. They managed to get offloads across. She then takes them wide. And then I love the intent to quick tap and then move that ball across. So yeah, great play by them there. And then the forwards know exactly what to do when they get close to that line.
Well, Ellie Green with the conversion to make it 12-7. First try went unconverted. And the flag stay down for that one as well. So 2 tries in quick succession for Quins.
I think they're playing at a different tempo. Quins are just playing at such a high pace, and Wasps look like they're playing catch-up. I mean, they've got those runners that are really like I mentioned, Fee Pocock is so rapid, so they've got to really cover her so they can stop that ball getting so wide.
Basra White is going to get us underway once more. Seems like only moments ago she did that before. Gone for the same tactic towards the 22, allowing Quins to attack from deep, which looks like something they're absolutely thriving in. Oh, look at this. Since going behind, they seem to have really found some energy. Quins free in the hands.
And that's one of the risks when you're playing a high-tempo offloading game. Occasionally, if you get the timing slightly wrong, it just goes on the edge of flat and a little bit forward. So ref spots it. But what great work on the floor there as well, and leg driving contact to roll and get themselves on a front foot ball, because it just gives you a position where you can do that offloading game. And unfortunately for Quins going forward there.
The Wasps have a player down, which will allow them to get a little bit of oxygen in the lungs. It's been breathless stuff here in the opening 17 or so minutes of this semi-final. We've had 3 tries already. Wasps took the lead. A fantastic finish through crack. It was converted by Dow. But that was the spark that Quins needed. They looked a little bit nervous before that, but it was almost as though they conceded the try and thought, hello, we're in a semi-final here. We better play some rugby.
Yeah, because you can't go out thinking that, because on paper, you'd put Quins down to win this one. Me personally, I would have called it beforehand. But then actually, if you don't stop Wasps are a dangerous team. They scored first, and it might have just switched them on a little bit, so they realised actually we do still have to play. We can't play average to beat them. We've still got to turn up and play like Quins have been playing in order to win.
Of course, the first leg. The second leg is at the Stoop a week today. The aggregate winners will progress to the final. The other semi-finals also going to be live on the England Rugby website. That's Gloucester Hartpury hosting Saracens. That's a 4:15 kickoff in the West Country. Jack Zora will be talking you through that one. That's another interesting fixture as well, isn't it?
That'll be a really good game as well. I think they're really tough matchups, both semi-finals, which is good for neutrals kind of watching as well, because it will just be good games of rugby.
Saracens, of course, topping the league. 15 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats out of their 18 games. They finished on 79 points, 3 points ahead of Harlequins ladies, who was 76. And it was that dare I say it, shock loss to Bristol 13-12 that cost Quins the top spot, but it just does show how competitive this Tyrrells Premier 15s league is.
Yeah, I think there have been years before where the team that wins doesn't lose a single game, whereas you said, we've seen draws, we've seen losses for top of the league, and that's a much better place for the game to be in.
Wasps back on the front foot following that scrum and that brief injury break. Trying the offload game themselves, and Alder has to scramble back under duress from two Quins tacklers. They've got the advantage coming here, they'll have Wasps. Baltrawhite marches forward. The cleanest of passes there. Cocaine adds her support. Waterman puts the footwork on to release Abby Dow. Another knock on there at the breakdown though. Frustrating that for Wasps. It looked like it was starting to happen. That's the first glimpse we've had of Waterman's dancing feet.
Well, they've not particularly had clean ball. I think Wong, for whatever reason, she's not getting zip on that ball. I think Quins are doing well to pressure the breakdown, so she's having to scramble it. But really, you almost want to say, right, let's go back to basics. Let's get the 10 in closer to her. Let's just get those ball in hand rather than having it go behind or down on the floor, and so they can actually get cleaner ball. And that's the one thing Leanne Riley for Quins has really given them. She's given them good speedy ball off the ground, straight to hand, out in front. And that makes all the difference, because obviously you can put pace onto the ball. If you get it on the floor or slightly behind, it just stops everything. And then everyone else's lines of running outside of that player, they're then off as well.
Well, play on, says the referee. Sammy Wong in the right place at the right time, up to the 10-metre line. It's the best of kicks from Wasps, but they've got away with it on this occasion. Another advantage coming here. An advantage quickly turns into a penalty. I think if there's one thing Quins will be disappointed with, it's the penalty count in these opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's been far too high, and with that one, there's no need for that, for not rolling away. I don't think Atunu was trapped in. I think, personally, I think she knew what she was doing. She was slowing that ball down. And the risk you take when that happens is obviously then if you do get, you might slow the ball down, but if you get penalised for it, now you're just giving Wasps ground. Yeah, a bit bizarre that, wasn't it? The Vicky Jackson kick charged down, but then somehow Wong ends up getting it. And then, so it wasn't pretty, but actually it did work.
But if she could do that on purpose, then...
Yeah, I don't think that was on purpose for Vicky Jackson there.
King to throw in just outside the 22. The line-out so far for Wasps has been a bit of an area of contention after winning their first. They've struggled to get ball. Quins send a player up again, but that's better, stronger play from Wasps. Now the chance to attack the 22. Is that a high tackle? No, says the referee, but Wasps back in a great position. Trying to crash through. They've got players on the left-hand side, but that's been picked off by Quins. Now it's going to be a foot race to the try line, over the halfway line, over the 10-metre, into the 22. Oh, what a tackle! Superb chase by Waterman. It took her 60 metres, but eventually she came away with it. Well, how often do we see those chases given up on?
That was incredible, because Fiona Pocock is like, she read that so well, because the Wasps attack was really getting wide. They were doing their nice flat passes. She picks it off, and then we can see it here. She just goes for it. She goes for the intercept, catches it, and then look how far back Danielle Waterman comes from, and that was fair play to her, the fullback, to come back. That right there is why she is the best fullback in the world, because she does not give up. She tracks back, makes the tackle. Okay, yeah, she then comes away with the yellow card. Ref deems that she's gone for the ball and she's not been allowed to. But scrum. If it was a yellow, I'd imagine that. Oh, did they choose it? Maybe if we missed it, they might have chose it, the scrum. But yeah, incredible one. And that club feel we were talking about, Danielle Waterman really bought into that, and fair play, great tackle.
Well, Wasps have got some defending to do here, deep in their own 22. They're 3 points behind, and they're a player down as well. But that was a massive moment in this semi-final. And they're going to need to use moments like that to build. But here come Quins through the hands, and that'll be a third try. Bradshaw with a simple wingers finish.
And that was good there as well, because they had the decoy line. So they had Fiona Pocock running in. You know, she's done 3 line breaks now. She holds those defence in tight, and then they put Rachel Burford out behind her. And there's, there's not many players that can do a pass like Rachel Burford can. The nice flat ball, easily weighted to get it wide. And then, easy finish for Natasha in there. She can just straighten up over the line.
Well, 0 from 2 conversions so far for Quins. Annie Green entrusted with kicking duties today. This one a little bit simpler than the last 2. Despite the flags blowing behind the goals, it's not particularly breezy here at Twyford Avenue at all today. This for a 10-point advantage. Flags go up this time, and it's Wasps 7, Quins 17.
Wasps really need to react now, because otherwise this game can just completely unfold. You've got to stay close, you've got to stay in the game. So it's really vital for Wasps that they get this next point. They just have to come from them.
Smart finish from Bradshaw as well, because if she'd have gone for the corner, then the chase was on and she could have been bundled out, but she cut back against the grain.
Yeah, the power step, left foot to drive back in. Yeah, a bit harsh to say just an easy finish, because that was good footwork there.
I think maybe she made it look easy, and good instinctual wingers play there. But 3 tries for Quinn, 17 unanswered points, 25 minutes gone. Wasps down to 14. They need a big 8 minutes here.
Yeah, huge. And again, they've got good pressure there. They're forcing those knock-ons. So Quins have been so dominant. But actually, if you look at the error count, Quins have been the ones that have been knocking on the most. They've been giving away the most penalties. So they are giving possession to Wasps. It's just Wasps have got to use it. They've got to be really smart in the plays that they run now. But it's good they seem to have sorted their line out as well, which gives them a bit more freedom. I think that'll be the likes of Amy Cocaine talking to them and feeding in what will work against this team.
I think in matches like this, you really do need your experience to come to the fore. And Amy Cocaine, despite being 21 years of age, she has a wealth of experience at this level. Free kick given away at the scrum. Wasps come forward once again. Louise Dodd up to the 22. There's that crash ball she craves. It's better from Wasps. Oh, and that's a missed tackle. Just 5 metres short now, in search of that second try. What a moment it would be to score when they're down to 14. Nick Smith. Plenty of width, but they choose to ignore it. Cocaine.
Yeah, I think here he needs to be looking for a card there, because they know what they're doing. They're slowing the ball down. They've got Davina over that. They've got numbers in there slowing that ball down, and it kills it. I think he's got to go to his pocket there, because I think that was good attack by Wasps, and now it's been stopped, and now they're going to have to reset, and then Quins have a chance to go. So I think he's got to be looking for that now. Cynical kind of play there, I think, from Quins.
Well, of course, it's not the first time it happened either. It happens a little bit closer to the halfway line. There's constant infringements.
I think in that position there as well, I mean, you've just yellow carded Danielle Waterman down there for thinking it was cynical. Well, how is this different? So I think there, Quins have been very lucky to get away with that, and hopefully Wasps will come away with a score despite it. Great push.
Well, Wasps don't have anybody on the blind side, and now the ball goes open. Dodd, has she dropped that? No, she's just about managed to get it back. Big opportunity here for Wasps. Great field position as Smith's brought down. Again, they're keeping it narrow. Big collision there from Zoe Sainer. Big second row making the tackles. 2 metres short now. Sustained pressure inside the 22 for Wasps. It's been rare. Quins defending for their lives at the moment. Everyone committed around the breakdown as Wasps keep it narrow. Keep it tight, still 5 minutes remaining on that yellow card, remember. Now Dodd, lovely pass, but a massive tackle. She's up, ready to go, puts it to the right-hand side. Abby Dow loses ground, but Wasps still have the ball. Lucas approaching the half-an-hour mark. Still 5 metres short, still Quins defending well. Still Wasps keeping it tight. Hannah West goes this time. Huge credit to Quins here though for the way they're defending. Scrappy here for Wasps. And then Dodd with the accidental offside, and with that the pressure's released.
Yeah, it was silly there. Why are you launching it wide when you're a player down? And Quins are on their line, they've got their fullback in, they can just line speed up and put all the pressure on. You're going backwards by passing it out wide. Their forward carries are good forward carries. Let's get the likes of Justine Lucas has just done about 4 carries, in the last few phases. So let's keep doing that. Go that little bit wider, I'd say, because you do have the likes of Atunu, who's a big tackler. They've got big, strong forwards, and if you're looking at a weight ratio, Quins are the heavier side, so just go that one wider, get outside of that bodyguard area, and that's where they need to attack.
Huge credit to Quins though, for a team that have spent so much time looking nervous in this semi-final. They looked incredibly composed there. Has that gone forward? Yes, they've gifted possession back to Wasps.
Yeah, I think when Quins look back at this, they will have realised they've actually given Wasps a lot of ball off the line out of penalties and off of knock-ons. They are giving Wasps the opportunities, and it was nice to see from a Wasps perspective that actually they were starting to play the phases. Yes, a few errors have crept in, but they are starting to look more confident that forward pack are starting to boss it, and they know what they're doing rather than at the start looking a little bit lost. They are starting now obviously to communicate better and know what they're doing.
Sammy Wong puts the ball in and receives it back from Nick Smith. Dodd attacking once again. Toba Dirk waits for the pass from Vicky Jackson, finally receives it. Tries to get the offload away, they're going backwards, but Wasps still have it. Kate Older looks to her left and finds Dodd. Jackson puts it out wide, but Wasps having to come back infield. Better quick ball. Inside pass to Alder once again. One goes up the blind side. Nick Smith has been really keen to get her hands on the ball in the last few minutes. Oh, massive shot there on Hannah West. Goodness me. Quins certainly putting it in defence. Knock on from Quins again.
Yeah, what a hit from Atunu. There's one player you don't want to run into. It's her. Yeah, got to get that body height low and kind of avoid those areas in there, because that was a hit and a half. But West, to be fair, has bounced up, took that one on the chin, gets on with it. So fair play. Danielle Waterman's making her way back onto the pitch, so they've survived the 10 minutes and can add to that now.
Well, they conceded that try pretty much as soon as she went off, but since then it's been all Wasps.
Yeah, it's pulled them together, which sometimes happens, I think, when you lose a player into the sin bin. Everybody else has to step up because you're covering that player. Sometimes when it's 15 on 15, you're kind of almost more relaxed. But no, Wasps did, like you say, very early score against, but since then they've had possession, they've had territory.
And of course, to concede any more after that remarkable chase back, they've been incredibly harsh.
Yeah, great chase back, great moment.
As for Quins, they're being asked questions in defence for the first time in this match, and so far they have the answers. 4 tries so far, 3 of them have gone to Quins. A few missed kicks and still just 10 points in this. Wasps starting to have some territory for the first time. Dummy from Wong sends Leanne Riley on a bit of a journey. Waterman straight back on the pitch and straight back into the action. Offloads to Wong, who gets the ball away. And then it goes forward off Dodd.
Really good decision by Wong there, because the pressure was on her. She clearly wanted to go to the left. The player got in her way, so instead of giving the pass, getting an interception, just a really nice sidestep, goes through and then pushes the pass through. So great spot, but a few kind of too many offloads to those wider channels. Then you start, I always think 3 offloads is kind of a good amount. The 4th one is generally always a knock-on, or something kind of goes wrong because you just start almost speeding up too much. So it's almost better to get your offloads, get in behind, but then when you're not sure, go to ground, rebuild the phases.
Quins back in possession, but inside their 22. 34 minutes on the clock. Just a reminder that our clock continues to run. It's not linked in with the referee's watch, so after 80 minutes, if it goes red and your team's in the lead, don't get too excited because there might be a little bit of time left. Still plenty of action here, but you feel from a Wasps perspective, if they don't score during this sustained period of pressure, then that might have an adverse effect.
Definitely.
As we move forward.
I think they need to score before half time, because otherwise this Quins team will run away with it, because they've been we've seen glimpses of fantastic play.
Well, another fantastic run out of defence from Quins. Oh, and the tip pass as well. They look absolutely devastating when they sweep forward, but that's an excellent tackle. Wasps showing that they can put it in physically in defence too. 5 minutes of the half remaining here in the Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg. Live from Twyford Avenue. Here's Brown. Up to the halfway line. Oh, beautiful pass to run onto, but then a loose one. Well, the doctor's on the field of play here. Referees had to bring that one to a close. Look for a second like that lovely lofted pass was just going to open Wasps up.
Yeah, that was a really nice pass threaded through, like you say, because then if it's put out in front flat, you can hit onto that and really put pace in. And I think the damage was initially caused by the Rachel Burford line break. She's such a powerhouse and working really hard on the floor, rolls, and then what they do from that line break, they get the ball wide. They don't just pick and keep it tight. They make Wasps work. They make them have to cover, and that's where Quins are most dangerous, and it works well for them.
They always seem to have somebody ready in support, whether it's to absolutely melt the breakdown or to receive the offload. Seem to be able to generate pace a lot quicker from the breakdown than Wasps.
They have a lot more options, yeah. So if someone makes a line break, there's one of 3 people that can take the ball or clear or do what's necessary, whereas Wasps have made their line breaks and they're a little bit more isolated. So possibly a sign of Quins having worked together, and you said about team consistency, and that you can really see that paying off for them.
We'll restart with a set scrum. And given the changes they've had to make in the front row, Wasps will be particularly happy with how the scrum's gone so far today.
Yeah, scrum's been solid. And as I mentioned before, Quins are a heavy pack in there, so Wasps have done really well.
Trying to get the shove on, but that pops out the back. P. Fletcher has to scramble to recover the ball. Referee has to take evasive action there. It was a loose pass. I thought for a second Cocaine was going to try and pick that one off. Another penalty that Quins concede.
Going off their feet at the breakdown. So great line speed there for Amy Cocaine. Like, to fly up, you've got your hooker doing that, and that is when you said she's 21, so she can. But yeah, just flies up because it puts pressure on them. You don't, because Amy Cocaine's a fantastic tackler. You see her flying towards you. You know, for half a second you're kind of looking at her, and then it causes the error.
Well, Wasps back in the Quins half. 7-17 the score, but certainly since the yellow card this has been much more of an even contest. There's 3 tries scored in quick succession for Quins, and it looked as though they were going to blow Wasps away. Alas, we have a semi-final on our hands, but you feel as though the next score is going to be incredibly important, particularly if it comes before half-time. Another mistake at the line-out from Wasps, though, means Quins can recover the ball in between the 10 metre and the 22. Another heavy carry from the tight forwards. They're almost like wrecking balls, aren't they? Oh, what a tackle that is, though, from Jackson. Driving the ball carrier back, allowing the defence to reset. And they're just pressing up a little bit quicker now, Wasps. Force Harlequins to put boot to ball. We'll have another line out just before half-time.
Yep, so they forced the kick, went straight out, obviously. So then, because she was, it was carried back in, comes back to where she kicked it in line with it. I think Atuni's down, looking for some treatment. I don't know, maybe
get some attention to the right
like
calf.
Yeah, but yeah.
Playoff cramp, it's a real thing. Only seems to happen in knockout games.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, so it does seem like it has cramped up, hasn't it? Because sometimes you can get players going down to buy time when something's going wrong, but yeah, clearly she has got cramp there.
Yeah, you don't get cramp in round 6 in December, do you? It's only when it's knockout rugby. It's a real challenge for that one in the air. Quins win the line out again. Yeah, looking for areas to improve on. Oh, that's been charged down, but it's come back Quins' way. Yes, Quins will look to improve on their penalty count, and I think Wasps will really look to be improving the line out. That one's just been dabbed out.
So they'll get another go at it, but yeah, the line out were really so inconsistent. And the problem is, if you don't have a line out game, then you give Quins the ability to be able to just kick the ball out, and then hopefully just, even if it's a Wasp ball, they'll hope they can win it back. So you're constantly losing territory as well, and you're just playing with that risk.
Well, the cynic in me thinks that's why they keep playing on the edge in the middle of the park.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely right. They'd have looked at it and gone, well, they don't have a kicker, so we can get away with it with the penalties.
And they've turned that one over again. And that takes us to half-time. I think both teams have plenty to work on, but at the moment it's advantage Quins. Wasps 7, Harlequins 17 at half-time in this Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg.
Yeah, great game so far, and I think really important from a Wasp perspective. Harlequins didn't score again, but great from Harlequins to not allow Wasps to score either, because that keeps them in a really good positive lead.
Well, we're bringing you the second half and, of course, analysis of the first half from Cat Merchant. But before that, let's hear about the Inner Warriors campaign.
Women, life can be a battle. A gritty, uphill battle. But we were given this life because we're strong enough to live it. Every hair plucked, judgment chucked, nail break, bone break, heart break, child born, brave face worn. We can take it. We bear an inner toughness. A sorry, not sorry, brave and beautiful wildness that stirs within. Every time someone says you can't, we say, that's exactly why we will. There's a fighter spirit in all of us. Always has been. We just need to meet it, embrace it, love it. So here's to the women who don't conform, who like to play tough, work hard, train like they mean it. That's real satisfaction. Phones and scales don't empower us. The women by our side do. We're a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, life can be a battle, but we're not warriors. We are warriors.
Well, that was the fantastic Inner Warriors campaign. Make sure you go to englandrugby.com/Inner Warrior to find a camp near you in April. Let's talk about that for a second. Inner Warriors, the camp. England Rugby seem to be doing so many fantastic things for the women's sport at the moment. Then we have quality matches like this. It's a game that's going places.
Yeah, it's growing, and it's going from strength to strength, and Tyrrells coming and being the sponsor for it was the first massive step, but then also RFU and England Rugby running these initiatives, these Inner Warrior campaigns. They're fantastic. I wish they were around when I hadn't tried rugby before, because it would have definitely made me do it.
That always seems to be the message from players of your generation. I wish it had been around when I was young when I was coming through, when I was first starting the game. But of course, what we've got now are people like yourself. You're staying involved with the game. You're working with youngsters. You're working with players of all ages. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing on the coaching side of things at the moment.
Yeah, so I coach Chesham Stags, my lads team, and do that most Saturdays unless I'm commentating. Do that. I also we're doing Bucks Women's Counties and also Chesham Grammar School. So a whole range. So young boys, women and men. So I love it. It's all different types, and it tests you as a coach in different ways, and it's great.
Well, now I'm going to test you as a pundit. We've got some highlights from the first half, and a really interesting first half. Quins looked ever so nervous. Wasps opened the scoring, and this was a brilliant finish.
Yeah, I think that Quins just weren't really switched on defensively. They weren't really looking for that, and then it was just such a good finish and carry. I mean, the strength here to bosh through and then to go over, fantastic.
And to be able to accelerate out to that tackle as well. So often we see a half tackle made and then they just get swarmed.
Yeah, but to drive over those first 5 metres.
But after that, Quins came alive, and they had that period of play following the concession where they just looked like they could take complete control of this semi-final.
Yeah, and then here it's just a really good forward dominant try there. They've got the carries. They've shortened up the Wasps defence. They've got them moving around. They've left the breakdown open, and then it's a nice pick through, and it's a great spot by Abby Scott there to dive and go through that gap.
After this, we wondered how Wasps would respond. Well, they didn't really have the chance to get their hands on the ball, and all of a sudden they were 2 scores down, despite the best efforts of Alder in defence there.
Yeah, Alder's had a good game, actually. Some line breaks and a good fly-up tackle there.
There's a lovely flat pass. They found Deborah McCormack.
Yep, key on that, because there's always got to be someone on the end of them, but you've got to get it, and then she does really well to step in and kind of stay strong and ground the ball for McCormack there.
I think one of the keys for Quins was playing the game quickly. That was what really caught Wasps out, and it was great fast thinking on the tap penalty.
Yeah, just quick tap and then go, and that's great to see. And here's the line where Fee Pocock runs in. We get Burford out the outside, and then a great line from Natasha there from that out to in to make sure you finish. But the dummy line is key in here, because you can see Vicky Jackson check in. She's got to cover Pocock, and obviously at this point they've got the yellow card, so they're having to stretch even more because they're a player down, so they're over chasing. So a holding line, very key for that.
And that is where we are. Wasps FC Ladies 7, Harlequins Ladies 17 at half-time in the Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg. Myself and Kat Merchant will be back with the second half in a couple of minutes' time. Well, plenty of rugby coming up and plenty of tickets available as well. England play the Barbarians at Twickenham Stadium on the 27th of May. Tickets available from £25. Of course, on the 2nd and 3rd of June. Who would miss the HSBC London Sevens once again at Twickenham? Tickets from £20. And the two teams today are playing for a place in the Tyrrells Premier 15s final. That is on the 29th of April. It's at Ealing. An early bird, £5 a ticket. What an unbelievable bargain that is. Make sure you get yourselves along to that. It's going to be one of Wasps and Harlequins and one of Saracens versus Gloucester Hartpury. The first leg of that one kicks off at 4:15 today. We'll also be bringing you that one live on the England Rugby website. Well, Cat Merchant, no excuse for people not getting out and watching some rugby. Some fantastic stuff at Twickenham to catch up on. And, of course, the final of this one at Ealing as well. That's one not to be missed, and we'd love to get a great crowd there as well.
Yeah, and it's so important. I think crowds is one of the things that is developing in the women's game. Bigger the crowds, the better the quality of rugby that's delivered, because you're playing to, rather than one man and his dog, you're actually playing to people that are caring and they're watching it and supporting it. And again, that will help grow the game. So yeah, please get down and watch this fantastic final.
And if you're enjoying the coverage today, then there's plenty more rugby we're bringing you on the England Rugby Facebook. On the 7th of April, of course, both Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-finals live. Tomorrow it's Yorkshire Carnegie versus Jersey Reds in the Green King IPA Championship. Next weekend, we'll be bringing you the second legs of these semi-finals on the 14th and 15th respectively. It's Hartpury College versus Bristol in the championship on Sunday the 28th. Then we move into May and we have the RFU Club Finals live from Twickenham Stadium. 4 brilliant matches across all levels of men's rugby. Then on the 11th, England under-20s versus South Africa under-20s, and the RFU Club Finals and England versus South Africa will be live on Free Sports as well. Facebook.com/official England Rugby. Follow it, watch it and enjoy it. Plenty of rugby to watch online and in person. And it's almost like the season doesn't finish these days, does it? We go all the way into May, then you get a few laps around the track for pre-season, realise how unfit you are, and then you crack back on with the next one.
Unless you play sevens, then it's pretty much just straight through. You do the both.
To be fair, sevens was never really a strong point of mine, but of course players have gone from this league to go over to the Gold Coast. It must be such a difficult decision to have to make, whether you go and play for England, obviously at the pinnacle of the game, but then you leave your club at a time like this. Must be tough.
Yeah, but I think I don't think many people would turn down the opportunity to go to Australia and play for your country in the sevens. So I know that they'll be wanting to support their club, but I think they'll be on a beach somewhere doing some probably horrible training, but probably softens the blow.
I like the way you cover that. They'll be on a beach doing horrible training.
They will, yeah.
It's the tough life of a sevens player. Let's bring our attention back to this. Wasps 7, Quins 17. What do you think, first of all, Wasps need to change to get themselves back into this one?
Well, key thing is keeping the possession, and at the minute they're losing it mainly at the line-outs. I think they've got to be a bit more brutal in terms of around the breakdown. When Quins are, let's not go cheating, let's say testing the boundaries of the referee, they kind of need to get in there and kind of almost put a foot on, just to show, look, actually they are in the way, do you want me to deal with this or you two? Because then it forces the issue, and I think they're being a bit nice, a bit naive almost. So I think if they can fix that, just fixing the line out, I think would give them a lot more possession.
And as for Quins, when it's gone well, it's been quite simply sumptuous, but it's not been consistent at all.
Yeah, they've kind of been almost more exciting to watch because they're doing the high-risk plays. The offloads are brilliant, and the pace is it just looks unstoppable. But then, there's the mistakes. There's those little knock-ons that they just kind of don't need to make. And, they've got to bring this penalty count down, because surely at some point they're going to go for a card, because it has been very, very high.
Well, of course, we have had one card in the match already. Daniel Waterman sent to the bin. It's so difficult because there aren't many people on the pitch who are capable of pulling off something like that, and then to be sent to the bin afterwards. Admittedly, they conceded the try, but that almost seemed to galvanise the team. They were able to not able to build on their score, but certainly build on their territory. It's just a case of now actually getting some points on the board, because I feel as though if they lose this game, it's not the end of the line. They can go to Quins next week and win, but if it's a heavy defeat, today's a real opportunity.
Yeah, I think they've got to keep the score as close as they can, just to make sure, like you said, because even if it's not a win, then if it's a close score, then it's not too much of a win they've got to get for the following game. But they've got to keep in track. And I think that moment from Daniel Waterman tracking down, Nolly's like 32, 33, and with however 70 odd caps, and for her to track back like that and chase down someone who's a winger and younger, and to the heart and soul to put into that, if that can't lift a team, then I don't know what can. So it was really good to see that they all bought in for that next 10 minutes while she was off, and say, actually, we can put this effort in too.
This is, of course, the first leg of the semi-final of the Tyrrells Premier 15s, the inaugural competition for a place at Ealing in that final that you can still buy tickets for, and of course you can join us live on the England Rugby website for that one. I wonder if the second leg will have been in the players' minds, thinking, because not many of them will have played in a two-leg format.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because it isn't... you do get a second chance, but really you put yourself in the best position by obviously winning the first leg, because then you can play with less pressure for the second. But I don't know if it will be in their minds, because I think with any kind of competition, if you've got like kind of knockout stages, things like that, if you think about the next stage before you're playing the game that you're in, then that's when you're at risk of losing, because you're thinking of the future before you've done the job now.
And even though we're saying if you lose today, it's not the end of the world, no player ever goes onto the field of play wanting to lose or accepting a defeat. No,
that's the thing. And even if you've been beaten by a better team, you don't come off going, oh, well, because that's what makes you competitive. It's what drives you to play at the top of your game. So, whichever team loses, they're going to be absolutely gutted. But at least they do have a silver lining of going for it for the next game.
Well, Harlequins are the first out of the sheds. They lead 17-7, 17 unanswered points after conceding the opener. Crack going over from outside the 22. A wonderful finish from her, but after that, they've not really threatened the Quins line. Plenty of time in the 22. They've won penalties. They've perhaps got the upper hand at the scrum, but the scoreboard very much against them. Here come the hosts. There's a real air of confidence about them before the match. They've lost twice to Quins so far, but they certainly don't let their league table position belie what they can achieve this season. Third place after 18 games, just 2 wins between them and Quins. Of course, they were the 2 wins that Quins achieved over Wasps, but now it's all about the here and now for a place in the Ealing final.
Yeah, both teams will have had a chance to go in at half-time and chat about what they kind of both need to change. So we'll see if it's either they say, right, more of the same, or whether they have changed some of those tactics, which will be good to see as well. Because Quins have a good mix, actually. They've got their tight play and their wide play that they can use and flip between.
What I think is amazing is how relaxed both teams look as they come out for the second half.
Yeah, neither team look like they've got pressure on them. They just look like they're out there to enjoy and take it on.
Wasps will get us underway in the second half, attacking the try line to the left of your screen. Once again, Nora Baltravite is on restart duty. Quite looking forward to having a conversation at full time with somebody to find out what that's all about. Again, she goes deep. It's hammered into the 22. It's not taken cleanly, but Quins get us underway in the second half. Straight away, playing exactly the same as they were in the first, seeking the contact and getting the offload away. So difficult to defend. End over end grubber kick takes Wasps into their own half as Waterman puts on the footwork and finds the offload as well to Cocaine. It's a little bit scrappy after that, but Waterman, she's such a mazy runner, isn't she? She can just dance through defences. That's a real asset in any form of the game as Baltravite crunches forward for Wasps. More confident ball carrying from them. There's Crack. Since scoring the try, she's not really had the chance to get her hands on the ball a great deal, the open side flanker. A little bit too much on that pass, and it goes out, but a little bit more confident ball in hand there from Wasps.
Yeah, and I think I can see what they were trying to do there. Again, it was that thread through pass out in front, hoping that Tova would kind of hit on to that a little bit more, but possibly a bit too high for her. She hasn't quite read it, but that could be very dangerous. I think what they'll start to do is bring Danielle Waterman more into the middle, so she is a distributor as well as footworker, but she can get that ball a bit wider.
Good line out from Quins. That's something that Wasps have very much been lacking in this game. Brown can just stand upright, but that's been turned over. One offload too many for Quins. That's what happens when you play that high risk. The forwards putting the hands on, taking it to the right-hand side, so plenty of width now for Wasps to work with. Lucas. Going back to the blind side. There is Waterman in at first receiver, as you suggested she might be. And Wasps back into the 22. Far more fluid from the hosts. Smith. There's Dodd back in at first receiver. Finds Alder. Dodd's the first on the scene. Hannah West. Still not tackled, only just brought down now. 5 metres short, approaching 3 minutes of this second half gone. There's an advantage coming here. There's a Quins player down face first as well. Doesn't look comfortable at all. Wasps creep forward again. Maisie's in there. Oh, Dodd. Met under the sticks. Quins once again defending for their lives here as Cocaine goes for the line. Stopped just short. Can't reach out to dot that ball down. And the referee brings them back.
I think, again, that's possibly a not rolling away penalty, which, again, cynical. 5 metres out. They give a penalty away. Like, you can almost read it like, oh, Wasps has had the ball for, 10, 12 phases. They're getting close to the line. Guarantee there's going to be a penalty because there's going to be someone slowing that ball down in there. But much better from Wasps. Really good composure. They kept it tight. And Amy Cocaine must have been like inches away from that try line. She'd got a really good spin to try and get her elbow down across that ball, but just a tiny bit short. But great to see. And again, great defend by Quins though, because Wasps are throwing everything at them, and Quins are just staying composed. They're not panicked, and they're just defending.
Well, it was a little bit of lethargy that gave the ball away. But as soon as Wasps turn it on in the 22, huge credit to Quins. But Wasps go again. Dodd charges underneath the stick. She's pushed over. And the try's been awarded.
So, not what you expect from your 10, but if you can do that, why not use it? And that's one thing, Giselle, I think, credit to her as a coach. She doesn't say, oh, my 10 has to be this because that's what a 10 does. Dodds is fantastic at that. She's impossible to stop when she's full pelt. Why not do that? You don't have to play by a script. There it is, good scrum. And a nice pick, and then 10 just goes, absolutely runs in. And then it's Kate Older, who has been key, I think, today. She comes in, hits her, gets her over that line. Because on her own, Rachel Burford might have just been able to hold her up there. So great teamwork.
Well, it was one of those ones as well where she pinpointed Burford and she's like, right, I'm coming for you, stop me. Yeah. And Burford was a little bit upright. She got the tackle in, but as you mentioned, Alder, the captain, added that extra weight. That really does make it game on now. Abby Dow with the opportunity to close the gap to 3 points, which she does. And it is game on. Wasps 14 at Quins 17.
I think key as well to mention is Vicky Jackson. Her line speed up. So actually she forced the extra offload and then they got the turnover from it. But it's being forced because she's flying. So I think that's key as well for them. And Quins, what they need to do is if they do have a flyer, is almost that dummy again so she can go past and then offload behind it.
Quins get us back underway. It's well caught by West. To get a little bit of momentum going forward as she receives the kick. Crack again, managing to get over the gain line. It's a good lift here from Quins though, forcing Jackson to step inside. Wasps with a little inside ball this time. A trio of defenders hunting in a pack for Quins around the breakdown. Oh, good offload though by Wong. Something that Wasps weren't really able to do in that first half. Dodd again breaks the tackle. What a start she's had to the second half. And that's a good pickup as well from Cocaine off the toes. Now Wasps going through the hands. Tova Dirk into the 22 and just bundled out into touch.
Showing her pace there as well, because they are dangerous if they can get that ball out wide. And actually, yeah, by doing a punch up first and then going wide, I mean, that was great hands. When you've got someone like Amy Cocaine who handles like a centre from hooker, and she can move that ball, I mean, why not? Absolutely brilliant. Great cover defence as well though from Quins, because that was good play to get it wide, and a great cover tackle into touch there.
Afilaka comes to the field of play wearing number 16. This her 50th appearance in a Wasps jersey. She gets a lovely reception onto the pitch as well. Good direct line out there from Quins, securing the catch. Find themselves a little bit of time to clear. Approaching 8 minutes gone of this second half. Wasps converted try through Dodd, the only score of the second stanza so far. The referee is playing an advantage there.
So Wasps discipline then creeping possibly in, but so far I think they'd be happy with the penalty count. It's been pretty low, but to give that one away is silly. Oh, lucky though.
Well, they have got lucky there. And a mistake from Quins, not finding touch. And Waterman pirouetting through tackles. Dodd steps inside, but she gets driven to the ground. Wants to secure the ball once again, though. The inside pass finds Cocaine. Reaches out that left hand. She was almost desperate to hand someone off there. That's just shunted forward there. Sheffield overran that one.
Yeah, one of the risks of playing so flat and being so keen to get there is, yeah, you overrun it, it's forward. And I just want to say credit to Wong, actually. In the first half, I felt that her delivery was a little bit slow and Wasps weren't able to get quick ball. Completely changed. This second half, she has delivered that ball quickly, she's delivered it out in front, and it has changed the tempo in which Wasps can play at.
A bit of a change in the forward pack. West's gone to hooker. Got Amy Cocaine packing down at flanker now.
Well, she's so versatile, so I'm not surprised. I think that's a good shout because she can get around that pitch well. She's a good tackler, good handler.
Afilaka moving in to loose head prop since coming on. Now Quins, they've not had a lot of ball, and that one's been spilt forward as well. Trying to play that high tempo game. As Abby Dow into the 22. Eventually she's dragged down, but she loses it forward as well. It's all happening here at Twyford Avenue. Well, Abby Dow given a little bit of space there. Came in at the right time.
Yeah, first bit of space that she's first time she's got the ball in space, I think. Pins her ear back, great footwork, fantastic handoff. That offload's never on. Never in a million years that offload on. She can't sight the player and support. She hasn't got two hands on it. It's a really difficult one to do at pace. Just hold on to it. It's no problem. Hold on, roll, next phase.
Half an hour of this one remaining, and it's very much in the balance. Wasps 14, Quins 17.
Yeah, that last try has made it so interesting now, because within three it's really changed the dynamic, because if Quinn scored, I think that then heads go down, but now it is neck and neck.
Well, Quins yet to hit their straps in the opening 10 minutes of this second half, really. Trying to play that high tempo game inside their own 22, and they've come unstuck a couple of times. Composure required now to clear the lines. And they do find touch this time, but not a particularly deep one.
No, but I think for them, they're going to rather guarantee make touch, especially as Wasps line out has been bit dodgy, for want of a better word. But when they keep it in, the back three will tear them apart. So they need to just make sure.
Got another player down just out of your shots, receiving some medical attention. And it's not a surprise, really, because it has been a very physical 50 minutes so far.
Well, both teams are playing such a high tempo. On a turnover, they're just passing it, they're getting on with it. There was a great example. The referee had got slightly in the way, and it meant that Wong ended up getting smashed, but no one complained about it. Everybody just hit the ruck, and then straight away the tempo carries on. There's no whining, there's nothing like that. It's just getting on with it, and it's so good to see.
Well, there are the Wasps pack. Quite important for them. They won't really want this break in play, will they? They'll want to continue with the momentum they've built since the half-time whistle.
I think that's really key, actually, because I think Wasps build up momentum, and then there's a stoppage or there's a penalty or there's something, and then they almost they lose that momentum, whereas Quins are very good at getting momentum from nothing. Yeah. So Wasps will knock on or something like that, and then they'll pick it up and suddenly they burst through. They don't need as much time to get switched on, whereas Wasps really do need those, I think, extra phases to kind of get themselves settled and into it.
And also in terms of the yellow card, Wasps got a yellow card when they had quite a heavy defeat to Quins. Amy Cockayne was sent to the bin, and that was 27-8 the score there. The response to going down to 14, I think that's something that Giselle and the rest of the team will be particularly happy with.
Yeah, definitely. Although it was Danielle Waterman, not Amy.
No, Amy went. Amy went in the game where they got hammered.
Oh, sorry, I was there like I don't think they look that similar. Yeah.
Yeah, the game was very much in the balance when Cockayne got sent to the bin. And in that time, Quinn scored 3 tries. This time it was just 1.
Which, if Nolly hadn't made the tackle anyway, would have been a try. Yeah. So actually they're not too worse off for it. So yeah, great reactions then. And from going from 3 tries scored in 10 minutes to go into just the 1 that was inevitable, great work. So yeah, you're right, Giselle probably at training has gotten practicing in those scenarios. Although that's one thing Gary Street used to do with us at England. We would always practice certain scenarios. If someone's sin-binned, who covers what? And there was always the jokes that most people covered one position. He'd get to me and be like, maybe left wing at a push. But yeah, always out-and-out winger.
Wasps with the put-in inside the 22. Another big opportunity to get back on the score sheet here as Dodd finds Waterman. Quins rush up this time. Cut her off at source. So important not to let her get any momentum up. Another big tackle comes in though on Alice Sheffield. A little bit upright and she gets unceremoniously dumped to the ground. This time it's Dodd that wears her shoulder. Quins turning up the heat in defence. West 10 metres out under the sticks. Sammy Wong finds Sheffield again, straight back on her feet. She wants another carry. 5 metres short now for Wasps. It's slowed down, so they keep it tight through the forwards. Working really well in twos here, Wasps. Justine Lucas adding her weight this time. There's Wong, wants it at first receiver. Waterman out to Dow for the corner. A quick conference between the referee and his assistant, and that is a 3rd score for Wasps. A 2nd score of the second half, and they lead 19-17.
Absolutely brilliant play by Wasps there, because to be fair, Quins put in probably 6 massive hits, huge hits. Their defence unquestionable. So for Wasps to just keep going, play the phases. So they're in tight here, and then we have a little spot. Wong taps to go right, gets that ball out, and it's Danielle Waterman, that player, to get it wide to Abby Dow, who this time, no doubt in her mind, hand off for the corner. Great finish.
Well, I had my eye on the referee there. I was like, why hasn't he given this try? It looked like a fantastic finish there from Dow.
I wonder if he wanted to just check maybe something like touch, just because if it is over that side. But he did pause. I thought hand would go up straight away. So I was like, what have we missed here? But no, called it. But yeah, great. And she gets the chance now to convert her own points, which I always think would be pretty cool.
It's a tough kick for the right footer there. Not a lot of breeze out there though. She's 2 from 2 from conversions so far. This to increase the lead to 4 points. Not the cleanest of strikes. The flag stayed down and it's Wasps 19, Harlequins 17. This is the semi-final first leg that everybody wanted.
Yeah, this is ideal. This is perfect. I did worry just for a second that this was going to spiral, but actually they've responded in completely the right way. Quinn's taken their time after that kick, a little chat, a little right, come on, we've gone behind. So now they're just going to have to possibly either kick short to compete, or I think possibly just boot it long, put the pressure on for Wasps to have to try and kick out.
The Wasps have looked far more composed in this second half. They've just starved Quins of possession. 17 minutes gone. And that's been knocked on, so Quins will have the opportunity to attack in the Wasps half. And we saw them respond incredibly well to conceding in the first half. And this is an opportunity to do the same in the second.
Yeah, they've got really decent kind of ball here, because I'm not a big fan of kicking in that middle range. I think you either go short to compete or long to put pressure. If you kick to the middle, Wasps they don't have much pressure on them, they can just play. But obviously a rare mistake from West there. I think she's had a really solid performance, but just knock on there, and now Quins get really good attacking the platform.
Well, we've got a little bit of time, but what I will tell you is that you're picking the player of the match later, and I don't envy that decision at all, because there've been a lot of strong performances as we approach the hour mark here.
Well, I was looking at Quinn's players thinking, right, okay, it's likely they're going to win when it looked, 10 points clear. Now suddenly I'm looking at the Wasps team going, right, okay, let's remember who's done this and what. But there's so many players you could give it to, actually. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting kind of 20 minutes to decide.
Going back to that third try that Wasps just scored, Sammy Wong knew that it was on, didn't she?
Yeah, she was, I think, really good there. She just tapped her forward to tell them, right, it's on this way, it's got to go. And it went. So, yeah, really well-performed move.
Quins with the put-in at the scrum. In the Wasps half, it's been a rarity in the opening 20 minutes of this second half. Done a lot of their best work in counter-attacking positions, but now they have good ball. That's a lovely inside pass to find Jess Wooden into the 22. Great line from the American. It's a quiet game in attack. There's Chloe Edwards coming on as a front row substitute. Offloads. And there are numbers here for Quins if they can get it there. A little bit too flat for Holly Myers. And Wasps drag her into touch.
And it's that lady, Vicky Jackson, again. She is on the heart of all the defensive efforts from Wasps. Like, really big, strong drive to get that into touch. Like you say, slightly too flat on the pass. Just because she was so close to the touchline, it doesn't give you much options to do with. But an important work there by Wasps, because Quins are looking so dangerous in these areas.
And of course, Maya's one of those players you do not want to let her build up a head of steam. So dangerous, so quick. And then a much better line-out from Wasps, though. A good counter-drive from Quins. This one not really going anywhere, and now it finally starts to move.
Well, I think on that one, am I right in saying Quins didn't go up to compete? I think they just stayed on their feet, which I think is a strange decision, because they have been putting so much pressure on turning over the ball. But if they are on their feet, they're deciding they're holding it up. They want to play off a scrum possibly rather than a line out. But at first I questioned that decision, but actually they have come away with the scrum. So it's obviously something, that tactic they wanted to change to have a go at.
Well, they've got the put in here, back in the Wasps 22. Chasing the game for the first time in quite some time, trailing by 2, 19-17. Well, much better scrum from Quins as well. Front row of Wasps popping up, and the advantage coming as well. The right arm of referee Manley sticking out.
And scrum penalty, the first scrum penalty I think of the game, because I would say it's been very good. Both teams have won their own ball. It's been really solid, but obviously the first one coming in there, and now the decision of what they want to do. It's only 2 points behind, so there is a thought of why aren't they going for the post here, but they want to go ahead by more.
Well, they've gone for the corner. Brave play from Quins. They do tend to live by the sword, die by the sword, don't they? They love scoring tries. They love playing this wide, expansive rugby.
Yeah, and it's always results driven, isn't it? You go for the corner, you score, right decision. If you don't, wrong decision.
Again, they go with that quick, flat line out. Wasps don't compete for it, but now have to commit bodies to the drive. Davinia Catlin is at the back. The referee giving his instructions. They're getting closer and closer to the line. Lucas has done incredibly well to get her body between the ball and the ground.
Such a worker, such a workhorse to get in there and make sure she gets underneath it. Smart play. And they've done really well there because Quinn's got a good drive on that. It looked like they were going to go over the line and go all the way. So great to hold them up. But now they get another shot at it. So Wasps can't relax yet. Held up. They've got to now hold their scrum out.
Well, Catlin was trying to creep around the right-hand side, but Lucas just watched her and watched her and watched her. You've got to be so careful. Let's keep an eye on her here now. There's Lucas. She's got her hand on it and she just puts her body down. Got to be so careful not to go offside there.
Yeah, but she's just brave, isn't she? Because she turns her body underneath it, almost turtles up so that she's not going to be able to get the ball down. But you risk the whole maul landing on you there. It's not somewhere I'd want to be. Well done, Justine Lucas, but just I don't want to get there.
Take a deep breath before you commit. Here come Quins again, though. They're certainly getting the better of these scrums, and there's another penalty advantage coming. Well, Leanne Riley wanted to pull the trigger there.
Yeah, the scrum really has kind of changed, and obviously you gain a lot by having Amy Cockayne in the back row around the pitch, but possibly what she brings in the scrum, they might be lacking slightly with her being back there. And looks like the ref's having a word.
He's got the substitute prop, Kani Afalaka, over there.
Yeah, there's something she's doing the ref isn't liking, because when West was there, these penalties weren't happening. So she's got to be careful. Sometimes it's just the referee's interpretation. So as long as she's listening to him and learning from him and taking it on board, hopefully we can keep these penalties down.
Wasps 19, Quins 17, but Wasps coming under scrutiny for the first time in the second half. Consecutive scrum penalties, and Quins urged forward by the scrum half, and another penalty. Talked about the referee going to his pocket for Quins, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but at least that's consistency, I guess, because actually, he didn't go up the other end, and then he hasn't gone here, so he's obviously looking to keep the play. He doesn't want to go to his pocket, but yeah, they're in a really dangerous position here. Oh, and Cockayne has gone. They've put Cockayne into hooker. Good decision, I think. Important. She's just got that experience, and then she can drive into there. Look at me with the scrum chat. I love it.
The dark arts of the scrum, something that many of us never get to experience, certainly the front row. And Quins get that push on again. Being urged forward there by Leanne Riley, but that's a much more solid scrum from Wasps, so Quins are going to have to do it the traditional way. Lovely step inside, suggestion of a high tackle from Alder. It's another penalty. They go quickly, but the referee pulls them back.
Oh, she was over there as well. But tapped too far in front. I think he's got to be really on the mark. But I like the reaction, the speed to go for something different. Burford now, interestingly, she's pointing at the posts. I think she wants to know they are close. Take the pressure off, come away with some points here. But I'm not sure.
Well, they are going to go for the sticks. We saw Wasps spending a large amount of time in the 22 in the first half, coming away with 0 points. It led to the 2 tries at the start of the second half, but Quins not making the same mistake. They're in the 22, and they're going to give themselves the chance to come away with something.
And I think that's completely the right call. I think they've had a go at being the high risk, and going for the try to get more ahead. But actually now, right, settle, let's get the points on the board. Let's just tick ahead and go ahead.
Well, 1 from 3 from the tee so far for green. This a very kickable three-pointer to put Harlequins back into the lead. The flags go up and Quins lead once again, 20 points to 19.
And what's really good as well is you can see that the tag tournament things have finished and everybody has stayed. Everybody's enthralled by this game. The crowd is building. There's people kind of by the barbecue, but everybody is kind of watching and drawn into this because it's just such a high quality level of rugby.
I think the thing is, it's getting people here to begin with, because once they're here, they'll come again. They won't go away. They'll realise how close the games are, how good the standard is.
Yeah, it's that kind of branching out to just go and see it, because I think when people watch women's rugby like years ago and they watch some third team of some, and they've gone, oh yeah, women's rugby, the standard isn't good. I challenge anyone with that view. Come and watch a current Tyrrells game and then you just won't have that opinion.
That is the challenge laid down by Cap Merchant. 58 caps, 44 tries for England. And joining us today in commentary for this Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg. And what a semi-final first leg it's turning into. Wasps look down and out at times in the first half, but now trail by just 1 point as Brown threatened to go through the middle, but frees the hands once again. Quins so dangerous running at broken play.
Oh, and that's an important break in the play there, because they're just really, we were talking about momentum earlier. Quins, you just feel like getting that momentum, and by having a penalty against them there, that's just going to kind of just get them to doubt themselves or start to get frustrated, and that's not a place you want to be in. You want to kind of be composed, but also have the tempo.
The danger for Wasps is they spend all this time on the ball. They go through the phases very, very well. I've been particularly impressed with their discipline. But Quins look like they have the capability to score from anywhere.
Yeah, and we saw that with the Pocock intercept, and I think just they'll just spot something, any kind of error, that they react much better to things, I think, than Wasps. I think their reaction is so good that they can attack from any situation. A rubbish ball bouncing on the floor, they don't worry about it, pick it up, they'll just go.
Yeah, any suggestion of a gap and they're going for it. Kane and Afilaka confer. We're approaching the final 10 minutes. This second half has absolutely flown by, and again the line-outs let Wasps down. But it's knocked on from Quins, so a let-off for Wasps there.
Yeah, definite let-off. But yeah, I think it looked like a bit of an overthrow there. But again, I probably always call it an overthrow. It might not be the lifters or something like that. So I don't like to just blame someone. But yeah. Okay.
I would suggest that in the days between now and the away leg, that Wasps will be working on that set piece.
Yeah, safe to say what Tuesday and Thursday will be working on for them, the line out, because their other aspects of the game have been fantastic.
Sammy Wong with the put in. The clock ticking towards 70 minutes, and this one very much in the balance. And Riley putting the hands on there as well. Inside pass. Tova Dirk coming inside, looking for work. Wrestling her way to the ground as well. Shariel live wire. Tova Dirk. Anna Glynn Davis, who's come on as a substitute, as Wasps concede the penalty again, and Quins want to go quickly. Brown crashing on the inside. She's been a real revelation for Quins this season. Can't give the ball carriers that kind of run up. Let's look for a second like they might have turned that one over, alas. Cornborough gets hands on and drives through. Big physical ball carrying forwards in the front row for Quins. See Rachel Burford just pointing in the direction she wanted the ball carrier to go there. Not sideways, forwards. Brown in there looking for the offload again, but Cornborough couldn't free the hands that time.
Amy Cockayne making her presence known, flying up there in defence. But what a good turnover that was initially. So the turnover was from Rachel Burford on the jackal. She jackals it, then gets the penalty for the holding on against. First thing, tap, runs herself. So jackal it, tap it, creating tempo. Brilliant play by her.
That's a couple of times Amy Cockayne has come out of the line and really made her presence felt, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely flies up because it will just put you off because you don't want to get hit by her. So, or if you do, you want to get hit on your own terms. Which, if the ball's coming towards you and she's flying at you, probably isn't.
Okay, Kat, this is your 5-minute warning for your player of the match, and I know this one's in the balance, and I know it feels like I'm throwing you under the bus. However,
yeah, this is possibly the toughest one I've had to do. I really think that.
Penalty for Wasps. Despite the hard work and their 2 tries in this second half, there's still a point behind. There's real jeopardy in this one. They'd love to carry their advantage into the second leg at the Stoop next week. Harlequins, the only team in the league to do the double over this Wasps side. Their only defeat here at Twyford Avenue. Just 1 point in it. Yes, you are going to be picking the Tyrrells Premier 15's player of the match, and I'm glad it's you, not me.
That's why I've gone quiet. I'm just staring at them like, who, which one? It could be a load of you.
This time Wasps do secure the ball. And Quins contested for the line out. So straight away, Wasps able to drive. The boot to ball, chipping for the corner. And the chase is on as well. The ball allowed to bounce, and that is an excellent chase from Wasps. And that's been turned over as well. Waterman gets her hands on the ball. But straight away, Quins get their hands on it once more. Questions asked as to whether or not that was a knock-on.
It's a good spot in there, actually, because when you've got someone like Tova, who's, Tova Dirk with wheels to burn, actually, yeah, let's kick it over, kick it behind, let's put the pressure on them and chase. And now they get another shot at it, so great work, great play there.
That's the first time we've really seen a kick in the attacking half.
Yeah, only the weird Vicky Jackson one that got charged down. That's the only other one. But that one a little bit more direct and kind of purposeful, I feel, by Daniel Waterman.
Short numbers at the line-up this time for Wasps. Oh, and Quins have turned it over again. I think we've suggested that the Wasps line-up hasn't been great, but huge credit to Quins. They've done incredibly well defensively in the line-outs. They've turned over more than Wasps have won. Approaching the final 5 minutes, still just 1 point in it here at Twyford Avenue.
Oh, here we go then. Here's one for Abby Dow. Fancy your chances going for the points because, it got to be surely.
They have to. There's a conversation
going on. They're all
going
looking at each other.
Oh, they're going for the corner.
She's not.
Goodness me. Huge moment. They're going for the scrum. Wowee, Wasps want to win it, and they want to win it in style.
I'm baffled because down here there was 2 scrum penalties against them. So then you're putting yourself, why? If they score off it, completely the right decision. But for me here, obviously they're not going to go for the line out, but either quick tap or go for the points. My top thing would be points because I just don't understand.
Well, the scrum's gone better this time. One gets the ball out. Waterman passing off the left hand. Has that gone forward? Yes, it has, and the chance is gone. We've complimented Vicky Jackson so much for her incredible defensive work, but that was a real mistake.
Yeah, that was just a little laboured, little force, like kind of pushing it ahead there because you've just got to be in control. But I think they're going to look back and they're going to regret that decision massively because I think that had to be the 3 points for the posts. It's within reach, it's in front of it. That's by far, Abby was there by the ball, I don't know. But, yeah, strange.
You've had your 5 minutes. It's player of the match time.
Okay, so difficult one, and it could go to kind of either kind of team on here, but I'm just going to go a bit rogue on it. And it's personally that chase down and the heart, and she's just been involved in so much to do with it. It's going to go for Danielle Waterman. I just think she's been involved so much, and this could still go a Wasps' way, so I don't want to call it based on who's ahead. But yeah, fantastic work from her. She's gone in at 10, passed the ball. Great work.
Well, congratulations to Danielle Waterman, the Tyrrells player of the match. The Harlequins coming forward again, so capable of making 20, 30, 40 metres with ease. It's been a valiant second half from Wasps. Fought their way back into this. But a score here for Quins would surely put this one out of sight. And the Wasps turn this one over. Yes, they have. Baltravite with the carry. Big, thick white headband. She's, of course, been on restart duty. Wasps putting boot to ball. Not sure if that's the best of decisions. Myers are falling off tackles now. Wasps can't afford to do that. There are tired legs out there. But remember, this is the first leg, so an aggregate score over 2 legs. 1 point very much keeps it in the balance. But Quins seem to have found some energy from somewhere. They've been quite subdued in this second half. Oh, massive counter-ruck there from Wasps to turn the ball over and force the knock-on. What a huge moment.
Absolutely huge. There's some questionable. I mean, Vicky Jackson again. I mean, fantastic. She could have easily been one of the players of the games if you're looking from a Wasp perspective. From a Quins perspective, you got Rachel Burford, Pocox, like all of them kind of playing so well. But that's a key moment. But Wasps have to be smart now because there's been a couple of decisions that haven't been. I don't think kicking it straight into the back free's throat for them to run back is right when you've got 4 minutes-ish left to play. So they've got to be really, really focused, and they've got time to do it as long as they're not kind of kicking ball away. But I do still think just go for the posts.
Well, particularly with what Giselle said at the beginning of the match. We spoke to her, she was super enthusiastic, and she said Harlequins are the one team we haven't beaten. They're the only team who've beat us here at home, and that was the chance.
Yeah, and was it Abby thinking that she wouldn't make it because her last kick was from out wide? It was a difficult one, maybe head gone down. But for me, I feel that was within range for her, and it does take them ahead. And then obviously the pressure is put back onto Quins. They're a bit far out here for them to do anything too crazy. But
Kate Hallett's come on in the front row, replacing Afilaka. Brief cameo from her, winning her 50th cap for Wasps. Will perhaps have one last bite at the cherry. Dodd goes forward again. It's been an unorthodox performance from 10, but an effective one nonetheless. She got the score. I wonder if that's something that might change in the second leg. Hallett looking to get straight in on the action and knocking that one forward. So as the clock ticks down, it's advantage Quins once again.
Very rare you sub your sub. So I don't know if that's due down to possibly the couple of scrum penalties and just thinking that actually for this ref it's not quite working, so we'll just freshen it up so we can secure our ball, unless there was an injury that I've missed. But yeah, very odd to kind of see that.
Huge credit to Quins here though. Looking at their results, they are learning to close out tight games. 14-12 against Richmond, 32-29 against Sarries, and now a 1 point lead, should I say, against Wasps. As you get to the business end of the season, you're going to find yourself in more and more of these games as that substitution has really worked for Wasps. Look how much they drove that scrum forward, but it's Quins who have the ball in hand. Our clock will now go red, but of course it's down to the referee's watch that's not linked in with ours. There's still a little bit of meat on the bone here in the Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final first leg. Quins attacking with intent over on the far side, back into the 22. Another score means they'll take a 6-point advantage into the second leg next week, possibly 8, and that'll be difficult for Wasps to turn around. Burford steps back inside, secures the ball. Ellie Green goes inside once again. In terms of progressing to the final, you feel as though it's particularly important that Wasps do not concede a score here, and Quins would love to hammer this advantage home. 10 metres short, under the sticks here for Quins. Working the ball out to the left-hand side, desperate defending from Wasps. Kate Alder with the tackle. Now it's Wasps' turn to defend inside the 22, something Quins have done so well in periods this game. Vicky Jackson making another tackle. She's been an absolute defensive dynamo, but Quins still come 3 metres short under the post. Huge moments here in the grand scheme of things. The pass off the left hand for the corner, and that will be another score for Quins. Fiona Pocock wins it for sure. It's Quins 25, Wasps 19.
I think that might in some ways kind of help the decision to have not gone for the 3, because now actually would have been irrelevant. They've scored the try, they'd have been ahead, and they won't be kicking themselves as much. But as you said, the aggregate scoring system is then going to pressure it. But here we go, so they're Burford and Pocock linking so well, just launching the ball over, and it looks speculative, but Burford knows exactly what she's doing there. She knows how to link, and a great finish by Pocock there.
And it was the accuracy of the passing as well. Clinical stuff from Quins. (25-19). Not been the best of the days with the boot for Ellie Green, but she of course kicked that penalty that got them back into the lead when they were under the cosh. And now she has the opportunity to give them an advantage of over a converted score going into the home leg. Chops just short. And that draws this one to a close. A very exciting Tyrrells Premier 15 semi-final. Quins probably on the balance of play deserved that victory though, Kat.
Yeah, I think Quins for the 80 minutes were more consistent, and yet you saw glimpses of it, and then they might have errors, but they were consistently there. Wasps kind of drifted in and out. When they were on form, they were brilliant, and you really felt like they were going to win that game. When I picked Danielle Waterman, that's because I felt that Wasps were going to win that. I did actually think they would come and to do it. So I think gutted for them, but I think it's the right result. I think the right team won, and they did the good performance.
6 points the margin of victory. Once again, that's exactly the same as it was back in round 1, where Quins defeated Wasps 38-32. Both teams had a lot of defending to do in that match, though. We had 7 tries in total, 3 for Wasps, 4 for Quins, but on another day that could have been 5, 6, 7 tries if it wasn't for the graft that they did inside their own 22s.
Yeah, I mean, there was some huge hits going in from both teams. Vicky Jackson, we've mentioned repeatedly, like her defence was huge, and but then both teams, I think Quins were brilliant. They put in huge hits right the way across from kind of 1, 2, 15. All of them were like nice and low, putting those hits in.
Well, the player of the match went to Danielle Waterman. I'm going to go and grab her for an interview in a bit. However, there were some really big performances from both sides. Who else caught your eye today?
Fiona Pocock, definitely. The line breaks that she made, the way that she linked. Rachel Burford, I think, is always outstanding. You had good performances all over. Amy Cocaine. There's a lot of good performances. We just spoke about the club players as well. I feel that Wong had a great second half, things like that. So a lot of players putting their heart on their sleeves and playing really well there.
Well, the full-time score, Wasps 19, Harlequins 25. Here are some highlights from the second half. 25-19 at full time. That is all to play for in the second leg, Kat. I've just been over and overheard a little bit of Giselle's team talk for Wasps. Still so much positivity running through that team. However, Quins, they'll be delighted to come away from a win, and they'll be hugely confident going back to their own patch with a 6-point advantage.
Yeah, they were put under a lot of pressure, Quins, at times, and to come away and to take that pressure and to convert into points and to finish, like we spoke about, you feel like they could score from anywhere. So I think the last play, they can just pull out a score when they need to. So yeah, they'll be really happy with that, and always things to build on, because now all they've got to do next week is get the win. And for them, that's a nice place to be in. It's not got to be, I've got to win by this many points or anything like that. They've just got to focus on getting that win.
And they will be playing either Saracens or Gloucester Hartpury. That one kicks off at 4:15. We'll be bringing you live coverage on the England Rugby website. Really exciting match, just like today, where Harlequins were arguably the favourites, but Wasps could have won that game. I think Gloucester Hartpury, the way they've grown into the season, they'll be confident of perhaps a shock win against Saracens today as well.
Well, I think for those teams, I think Sarries are, again, they're a very consistent team, and they look to play for those 80 minutes, whereas Gloucester, very much when they're on form, they can really tear a team apart, and it happened against Loughborough, and they suddenly put 3 tries on very quickly, and they can get that swing. So that's why it will be a good game, especially if Gloucester get a good start rather than wait into the second half.
Well, that one is coming up at 4:15. I'm now going to go and have a chat with the player of the match, Danielle Waterman. Danielle, 25-19, that really does tell a story. What are your immediate thoughts in the aftermath of the match?
We put in a huge shift against a very good Quins side. Unfortunately, to let the try in at the end was disappointing. But we probably only played about 15-20 minutes of good Waspy rugby. First 40 wasn't good enough, and they punished us for that. And obviously me having a little break for 10 minutes didn't help the matter. But yeah, really proud of the team. It's been a great atmosphere here, and bring on the Stoop next week.
With that 10 minutes, it was almost so the referee was giving you a breather, because that was a lung-busting run. And even though you got carded, it felt as though that was kind of a turnaround point. The team really responded to that act from you.
I think that obviously they knew that they had to all dig in an extra 5-10% because they were down a player. Unfortunately we conceded a try straight away, but then we played a lot of the 10 minutes up in this half. So, yeah, I think it was good for me to have the 10 minutes. It was a long way for me to run.
Let's talk about your opposition. They had a nervy start. There were times where they looked devastating in the first half. Firstly, huge credit to them, but also huge credit to you for the way you responded to that. I
think it's been a great game, and it shows where Tyrrells Rugby has been this year. I think that, there was ferocious carries and ball carries from both sides. We got out into the backs, and Abby Dow had a nice little dot down for us. So, I think there's been some brilliant rugby on show, and it's a credit to both teams.
I overheard the conversation that you were having with the coaches after the game. There seemed to be some really positive vibes running through this Wasps camp.
Yeah, why not? We've come into this third, and there was some fantastic rugby. We're definitely not out of it. It's 6 points in a playoff game. I think if we spoke to Bristol, they'd know exactly what the men's team, they'd know what playoff feels like. So, yeah, we've got nothing to lose next week. We've got everything to enjoy about this, and credit to all the girls that were playing.
Let's talk about it then. The Stoop next week. We've got loads of people watching at home live on the England Rugby website. And, of course, they can come down, they can watch, they can support. Give them a message to get them down there.
Just come down. The atmosphere when you play on the field with a big crowd is just incredible. And I think it's going to be probably one of the best games of the season. So, yeah, come down and support, and make sure you wear your black and gold.
Well, we wish you all the very best with that. But finally, you are the Tyrrells Player of the Match. Congratulations. Enjoy those. You don't have to share them, but well played today, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, it's great to hear from the player of the match, and a fantastic occasion here at Twyford Avenue. 25-19 the full-time score, the second home defeat of the seasons for Wasps, and it falls to the same team that they were defeated by on match number 1. Of course, we'll be bringing you the next semi-final, Saracens versus Gloucester Hartpury, live from the West Country. That kicks off at 4:15, and we'll be bringing you both semi-final second legs next week. Wasps looking to overturn that 6-point deficit. From everyone here, myself, Dave Rogers, and Kat Merchant as well, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to tune into the next semi-final, and we'll speak to you again next week.